Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back here with the wedding officiant. Excited to have our friend Anna Castillo, Lora here with us, joining us once again. Again, the wedding officiant. It's aclweddingofficiant.com, correct?
That's it.
Beautiful. Well, say hello and introduce yourself
Hi,
to everyone
everyone. My
today.
name is Ana Castillo, Lora, the wedding officiant. I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you.
Well, thanks for being here. She's all, by the way, we're live on Zoom as well. For those you can't see, but she's adorned with some beautiful hearts and like a love. What would I call that? Like a hopa?
Yeah, the arch, the wedding arch.
The wedding arch. You see, I'm not familiar. See, I've never been married. So let's talk. So it is the season of love. Valentine's Day is here. Let's get to know you a little bit for those that are new to the show. Anna, introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
So I'm Ana Castillo, Lora. I'm the wedding officiant. I am licensed to practice the rites of marriage. So basically, I can marry you legally.
Yay.
I'm also an ordained minister, so I can practice non-denominational. So I do any types of ceremonies, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Wiccan, whatever you need me to be on your wedding day, that's what I'll be.
And where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. So basically we call it Hampton Roads area. So I service Williamsburg, Hampton, Norfolk, Suffolk. So I and Chesapeake, and I travel also. I go to DC. I'm licensed in DC, West Virginia, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina. So I travel.
Beautiful. And today specifically, we're going to break down some of the things you do as a licensed wedding officiant and ordained minister. Can we talk about, I guess, civil versus religious, what the difference is? And you do both, right?
Yes, I do both. Basically, civil is you're licensed to practice the rites of marriage, which that means that you're part of the state. You're licensed by the state, so you have the rights of marriage. And then, of course, religious, you're ordained minister. You're able to practice the rites of marriage under a church. So, and of course, I'm non-denominational, so I can do any types of weddings.
Perfect, which is good to know. And you're available for travel for hire, right?
Yes.
So non-denominational. So also, again, you mentioned what types of weddings specifically then do you do? Could you give us some examples?
Well, I've done Muslim weddings, I've done Jewish weddings, I've done Christian, Catholic weddings. So if someone wants to have a religious wedding, the mention of God, the mention of Allah is there. That's what I will do. Non-religious weddings, couples just don't want the mention of God, so we leave him out.
Got it. All right, great. So last week's caller's question, Sabrina said, how would your officiant diffuse a conflict, outburst, or fight during your wedding? You want to talk about that? Some conflict at the wedding?
I was thinking about that, and I said, you know what, I want to hit that topic just because, I know she said, what if a conflict, a outburst, a fight, you don't want to have your wedding officiant refereeing a fight during a wedding. So what you want to make sure is, if you know that there's a conflict, there might be a fight, one of the things you might want to do is make sure that you leave enough space, make sure you coordinate seating, who's going to sit where, so they're not close to each other. And then, of course, communicate with your guests prior to your wedding. Let them know, look, this is my special day. I really want you there, but I don't want any fighting. I want to enjoy my day. And if you do that, it's going to ruin my day. And of course, you also have the option of not inviting them.
True.
if you feel this person is going to, but it might be your mother or your sibling, and you really want them there. So just have that heart to heart with them. And then my favorite option is elope and go to a really slamming, nice vacation somewhere, and just don't worry about having a big wedding.
That's true. That'd be nice. Elopement is nice, and that's something you specialize in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And continue along that line. So last week, I know you mentioned Serena called in. You want to discuss that a little bit. So what about some of the things? I mean, clearly, communication is key when it comes to anything. But sometimes, what if there's an unexpected guest? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes, we've had unexpected guests. I also had one of the brothers of the brides, and they didn't expect that he was gonna just come out and start hugging the two brides in the middle of their I do's and then the kissing portion. So that kind of everybody just stopped for a minute. But we just kept going. I let him do his hug, and he went back to his seat, and then they kissed.
So be prepared for the unexpected. I think that's a
Yeah,
good way of
of
right.
course,
And a
the
lot of people,
dogs.
I'm assuming a lot of people would want things to go so perfect on that special day, but you got to set expectations, right? And reality and prepare someone emotionally. Just say, be prepared. And it's one of those, I know it's a special day, but what's meant to be will be, right?
Yeah. And of course, you also have they want to bring the dogs, which, your four-legged, family member is always welcome. But, you always have to take into consideration, is he well behaved? Is she going to sit down? Is she going to run after a squirrel in the
Or
middle of the
bark
park?
during the whole ceremony. Has that ever
Yes.
happened? Oh,
No,
gosh.
she just wanted to be carried, and the dog was just jumping all over the bride, and she had her white dress on. So it was funny, but it was a nice day anyway.
Oh, good. So, what other things do you think are important as far as starting off with your officiant, asking them specifically maybe their schedule on your
Yes.
wedding date? How does that work?
Absolutely. I mean, you want to make sure also ask your officiant, do you have any other weddings before me or after me, so that you can coordinate? Because some people just think, I got her for the whole day. And you hire an officiant to officiate your wedding, and look at the schedule, look at the time frame that this officiant has allotted for you, so that you don't assume that the officiant is going to show up early in the morning and leave late at night because it's your day. The officiant will give you an hour, 2 hour time frame, and they might book another wedding before or after you.
Got
So
it.
ask your officiant.
Great. And also looking in here to your notes, which unfortunately have disappeared because I lost my internet on my cell phone. I apologize. What's next on our sheet? It's gone. I have to
Of
reload.
course.
Sorry.
You want to go over also with your officiant your processional. You want to make sure you tell the officiant what's going to happen. Don't surprise the officiant. It's this is your wedding. The officiant should be in the loops of everything that should be going on in your wedding, so that you don't stump them. You don't, the officiant is not in shock also, and then he has to stop and kind of reacclimate herself to her service. So just make sure you give her what's going on. If somebody going to show up and surprise them during the middle of their service or something like that, just keep them in the loop.
Perfect. And next up, I think you want to talk a little about live streaming. Are a lot of people live streaming their weddings?
Absolutely. COVID threw that curveball at everyone, and it was actually something that brides and grooms said, wow, this is actually pretty much cheaper to doing a virtual wedding. I've done Zoom weddings, Facebook Live, we've done team weddings, we've done FaceTime weddings. So it's just basically telling everyone, look, we're getting married tomorrow, tune in, come on, virtually, and watch us get married. And everybody's just challenging in and coming in and watching the wedding virtually.
That is so cool. And you also do them virtually as well, right? Could you have two couples on the screen as well as you in the middle and do a virtual wedding? Is that possible, or that's...
Well, that's possible if you've met with the couple. Let's say, you've met with the couple, and, they really want you to marry them, and you're going to be out of town or something. But, you meet with the couple, and you say, okay, let me get your marriage license. Let me get everything. And you do the legal process, and then you can do the wedding virtually.
Perfect. All right. Good to know, because a lot of us, with COVID, a lot of people my friends had to postpone their wedding, and then they rebooked it, and then they rebooked it, and then we had the surge. And guess what? No one was able to go. They couldn't even have it again, because then the limit went down again. Then half of the people had COVID, and then some of them needed proof of vaccination they didn't have. So it was just a disaster. So I'm feeling like a lot of people are doing this virtual way because it's just more convenient. It's easy.
Yes, it is.
Everyone
Well,
can attend, right?
you also have those correctional facility weddings that the bride wasn't able to go, so they allowed some virtual weddings to happen. So the officiant is with the bride, and the correctional officer is with the groom, and you talk to the warden. Everything is
Oh,
of course processed before the wedding can happen virtually.
perfect. Well, that's great. I didn't even think about that. You're right. That's a whole
Yeah.
nother aspect of your business.
Oh
My
yeah.
goodness. And let me ask you this. Now we have Valentine's Day coming up. Is this your busy month? What is the busiest, time of year to
It's
get married?
I guess anytime. I mean, like right now, the 222 is I've noticed that that's the big thing. Everybody wants the 2 2 and 2. So February 22nd, 2022. That's a big one, and I've noticed a lot of people. I'm booked solid that day for 222.
Wow, really? So,
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, wow, everybody
wow,
wants this day. They want those numbers. Numbers is the
wow.
big thing with a lot of people.
I never even thought about that. Two,
Yeah.
two, two, Oh my gosh, that is
Yeah.
awesome. Wow. So that
Two.
then your bit. Let me ask you this: is spring really the highest amount of couples you get married, or do people choose wedding? I mean, winter
Well,
weddings in a sense.
people choose winter weddings. I mean, of course, any day you worry about weather, but people choose winter weddings. September's a big month. Fall, you get a lot of fall weddings, and then of course July, because of the heat, some people try to stay away from that. But every day somebody's getting married.
Now, do people actually book like 2 days for their wedding in case there's a rain day? Like, do people do that? Like, book you for 2 days saying, I'm not sure if my wedding's going to be on Saturday or Sunday. We're going to keep it open. Is that something that's
No, I've had a couple that booked me for 2 consecutive weekends in case something happened, and it was also during COVID. They didn't know, so they did me for the first of June, and then they did me for the end of June, and they asked me to keep both those days open for them.
interesting? I mean, I guess if you own a catering hall, it's easy, right? Because you don't
Yeah.
think twice. But for normal people out there, to hold a spot for 2 days could be pretty intense.
Yeah, well, it was a big wedding, and they made it clear that it was okay. They had the funds to have that those plans
Wow.
open.
Nice. Well, I hope it was a beautiful ceremony.
It
Um,
was.
Let me ask you this. We're in the month of love. Valentine's Day is here. Any advice you want to give to our listeners and viewers today about unions in general, civil, religious, non-religious, whatever, but about any tips you've learned over your years of seeing people together, maybe some advice, what you see maybe go wrong, or, things that are going good that you can prelude us to. And then we'll get into March. We'll talk about St. Patty's Day next.
Yes. Well, love is a very beautiful, and you hear it on the radio: buy a diamond, say I do, get married. You have to really make sure that you're ready, and you don't do it out of spur of the moment. Don't do it out of a whim. Do it because you love the person, and think about the commitment that you're about to make, and the death do you part, or till life ends. And that's what it's supposed to be. And I also tell my couples, let's change the way society sees marriage. We marry, it's because we want to be with someone till death do us part. And then of course there's children involved. When those children come, you don't want to give them a broken home. You want to raise your children, see your grandchildren come home. So do it for the long run. Finish the race, get the trophy.
Mhm. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about, you're saying the luck of the Irish. Is there a lot of Irish weddings that take place during St. Patrick's Day, the day of
Yeah,
or around March?
that's
Explain
a
that one.
party. That's
Yes.
a party. I just don't want to marry you drunk, but of course, have the beer afterwards. But yes, there are a lot of traditional Irish cultures that they want to get married on St. Patty's Day. And I think that's a nice day to get married too.
Now, do you have to wear green? Is that part of it?
You know, I always try to do a theme. I always try to have I wear my robe. That's something that's just me. I don't want to outdo anyone or even try to figure out, oh my God, I got to look good. So I wear my clergy robe, and then I change my sashes depending on
Okay.
the wedding. So, you know, my LGBTQ weddings, I have little hearts with different color rainbows on them. For my St. Patty's Day, I have a green stole. So it depends. I'm doing a Scottish wedding, so I'm going to have a Scottish theme stole on. So it depends.
Great. Well, you did mention actually Pride Day. When is Pride Day?
Pride Day, well, it's Pride Month, but
Oh,
Pride Day is going to be on September, what is it, June? We're
is it
looking
the
at
11th or?
June 11th. Yes, June 11th is Pride Day here at the elopement room.
And by the way, where's the elopement room for those of you just tuning in? Tell
The
us.
elopement room is in my home. I actually just, you know, we have we set up this little get up here in the living room, in the main living room. So we have enough space that we can just dedicate this area as the elopement room.
Perfect. And you're located exactly where?
In Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Perfect. All right, good. For those new listeners. All right. Also, Anna, let's talk a little bit. It looks like next you said, as far as your Latinos and Latinas.
Yeah.
I can't speak Spanish, or I can't read that line. Go ahead.
Yes, para mi latino, yo estoy aquí para servirle. Si buscan a tener su ceremonia en español, llámenme. Yo hablo en español, yo puedo hacer las ceremonias en español y también en inglés si quieren.
And what did that say? In English?
I told them that, you know, I'm here to serve the Spanish community. If they want me to do their ceremony in English or
Wow.
bilingual, I do the Spanglish, English and Spanish, so that, you know, it accommodates both the Spanish and those that don't speak Spanish, but they're part of the guest list.
Perfect. And
I
for
think
those,
it covers it.
and what brought you into this field of love? Tell us.
Okay, my personal experience just working with our priest and preparing ourselves for our wedding, just, you know, back in 2003, it just let me know, okay, this is something that I would love to do, want to do. And, you know, I want to just be the person that the couple say, you know, she did an amazing job. Oh my God, my wedding was perfect. She hit it on the nose. She did everything that we wanted her to do. So it's very important to give my couples exactly the ceremony that they're envisioning.
Perfect. Thank you. And we still have, gosh, we still have 10, 12 minutes left here. What
Yes,
else do you have in store for us?
well, you know, I love talking to my couples, and I just had a meeting with one of my couples. They're getting ready to get married, and Spencer and Tiffany, they're getting ready to get married, and they're planning their wedding on September 4th. And it was very, very important for them to get to know me, for me to hear their story, how they met, and, you know, Lucky Tuesday. And they told, we sat for an hour and 15 minutes just listening and talking about how they fell in love, how their communication and their commitment is. So it's really, really nice to get to know your couple, because the day of their wedding, I'm going to know how they fell in love. I'm going to know how he feels about her and how she feels about him. And of course, they have a daughter, and you know, the connection between the three.
And that's got to be important, getting to know that person's story. Have it ever been like a last minute elopement rush where it's just, hey, we just want to get married, here's our paperwork, and you really don't know anything about them? And I know you're a professional, you could wing it, but have you done any of those, like Vegas style, come to the house and hi?
Yeah, well, I always sit down, and one of the things which is funny, they kind of look at me, because the first thing I ask them is, so why you want to get married? And they go, and I go, we got a little time. I'm not going to rush it. And I ask them, why do you want to get married? And then I tell them, I want you to remember your answer. I want you to remember this answer that you've just given me, because, you know, you eloped, and there's a reason why you eloped, because you love that person. And remember that there's going to be days where you're going to feel like, God, I want to take that person and wring their neck. But, you know, just remember the love is always going to be there.
Oh, beautifully said. Wow. And now, how many years have you been doing this for?
I've been since 2015.
Is there any other stories that are quite memorable that you'd want to share with our listeners today?
Yes.
The good, the
No.
bad, the ugly, the happy. I mean, there's got to be.
The hilarious. Everybody was
Yes.
asking, what was the craziest one you did? I had a wedding, and the girl had it all set up, and she told me we're gonna do it at the Rose Garden in the park, and it's okay. We're gonna be there. So I always get there a little early. So I got there, and it was a nice setup. There was an arch. There was flowers and chairs everywhere. And I took a picture and I said, I'm here. And she was like, wow, you did that? And I was like, no, I'm here to marry you. So apparently she didn't have the schedule set. Somebody else had the same plan on doing it where she wanted to. So all her guests started to show up, and I was like, okay, what are we doing here? And she says, okay, quickly get the service done before everybody else shows up, before the other couple shows up. And if they show up, I'm going to ask them to give us 5 more minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I was like, oh my goodness. But they didn't sit on the chairs, they didn't mess up anything, and we did a real quick wedding.
And it worked out perfect. Do you also offer coaching to couples ahead of time before marriage?
I do. I'm not a licensed marriage counselor, but I do that advice, that warm, fuzzy, connection that helps us get to know each other, and it also helps them just prepare themselves for life.
Got it. Good. And with COVID, how has this affected your business? I'm assuming some negative, some positive, right? Because there's a lot of virtual ceremonies. And what have you noticed about anything enlightening, more so about COVID and about this pandemic, that has enlightened you as a wedding officiant?
Well, you really have to be mindful of your customers, especially during this time, because weddings are where people want to have their elders, their grandmas and grandpas, and their family members there. And a lot of family members are ill. I've seen a lot of cancer patients through remission or going through cancer treatment, and they want to make sure that the people that they've hired are vaccinated, are not sick. So I really, am mindful of that. So when I'm doing weddings, I arrive, I have my mask on, I'm very careful, and also I also try to keep my distance with a lot of the family members, because you never know.
Yeah, I just find that it gave me a new outlook on life, to think about what matters, what's important, and how valuable and precious life is, that now really is the time. Enough stalling, postponing when it comes to anything in life, from marrying the one you love that you're with, or to going to work out, going to on that diet, or going on that vacation, all things that we, say we're going to do, we kind of put off. I find it gave me a new sense of inspiration to really get a kickstart, I think, a little fire under my butt. Like a lot of people may need some of that to do certain things. So I try to look for the positive, right? There's negative in a lot, but there's so much positive in it. I think that's come from it as well. So again, Anna, what else did you want to share? We still have a few minutes left here, hon.
The positive, just don't stress your wedding day. Don't they always say, oh, was she a bridezilla? Don't be that bridezilla. That the planning of your wedding is something that should also be joyful, not just your day. You shouldn't be stressing on on the dress, on I want people to do this. I mean, you've had people that literally are ordering people to do things on their wedding day. This is a day for you to enjoy, to have fun with. So on your wedding day, as you're planning your wedding day, enjoy it. And also remember that it's 2 people getting married, not just one. So plan and discuss your plans with your soon-to-be, so that you can both enjoy your wedding day.
Perfect. And is it true people can actually just come and walk in day up to get married? That's a service you offer?
Yes.
Wow. So and it's like, I'm always home, always available. Just call me.
Yeah. And some people just go, hey, could you meet us at the courthouse? And, the Virginia Beach courthouse is down the street from me. So I'm able to go to the courthouse, and sometimes they just want to do it right outside the courthouse. Let's get it done. And, the Norfolk is right down the street, Chesapeake. So it's easy for me to get to where you need me to be.
Got it. And also any upcoming events you want to talk about? Any bridal expos that you're attending?
Yes, we have the Bridal Expo, which is on June 12th? June 12th at the Virginia Beach Convention Center. I will be there. And I'm actually planning on marrying someone that wants to get married there at the expo. So if you give me a call, maybe that's going to be the freebie. So I want my first customers to call me and see if they want to get married at the Virginia Beach Expo. You know, you're going to have your wedding dresses, you're going to have your venues there, but some couples like to get married before the big day and just have that part all taken care of. So call me, let me know, and let's get you married at the Virginia Beach Expo.
Awesome. Well, tell us your phone number and how we can reach out to you again, hon.
Yes, it's 757-330-I-WED. So that's
love it.
4933.
Perfect. And on social media and your website
Social
again?
media. Follow me on. You can book your wedding on my website, which is aclweddingofficiant.com, and then press that button for Instagram and follow me on Instagram. I'm still learning a lot about social media, so follow me on Instagram.
Perfect. And I thank you for being here today. Thank you for doing what you do, and good
Thank
luck
you.
with Valentine's Day. You must be very busy. Get some rest the next few days, okay?
Say I do on Valentine's Day. It's a memorable day.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that and for being here and enlightening our listeners. Have a great day. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.